So the point is, for all these dealers listening, is like you really have to take your shot this tax season. This is going to be a really good one.
Hello and welcome to the Independent Dealer Podcast. Luke.
Yeah.
Luke.
What time is it?
What time is it, Luke?
What time is it? It's Jeff's and Bill's favorite time of the year. And what time is that, Jeff?
It's tax time, buddy. It is tax time.
And
Doesn't that sound good? Doesn't that feel good?
It does. You know what's great is that Jeff and me both are true believers in our vendors that we use. And today we have Bill Neylan, who is he's a dealer's kind of vendor. He's always there helping. He's taking dealers out to have booze every once in a while, and he's got a great product. And that's what's Jeff. I know you love to use this product. I'm not smart enough to use this product. And what's funny is his product's really easy to use.
Well, that's what we're going to do today, Luke. Bill and I are on a mission today to at least convince you to use TaxMax this season. And we're going to give you a whole bunch of reasons. First off, when you mention Bill being a guy of the dealers, a vendor of the dealers, he is. He'll give you the shirt off his back. He steps in, he sponsors the podcast. He's at every association. He's always there when dealers ask. So he's one of the good guys. We know there's a handful that are always back. And side note, when you corner him at one of these conventions, ask him for a stock tip, because I was going to bring this up pre-recording.
Celsius, right?
Hey, well, we can't give it away too quick. He has made me more than I will make in TaxMax this year. So thank you, Bill.
What's funny is I was standing there at the same time the stock tip was given, and I did not seize. I didn't know about Celsius at the time, but Bill, I have to say, in the afternoon now, I drink a Celsius, and I'm like a rocket ship.
Okay. I don't drink it. I just like the financial fundamentals about it.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around with that stuff. Same with all that marijuana stock that he owns. I'm not a user. I'm a financial writer. Anyways, Bill, let's get into it, because what we really want to know is, will there be a tax time? We always talk about like, tax season's over. Tax season's over. No one gets tax returns. The money's already out there. Blah 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 blah. Use your crystal ball. What do you see coming for us?
So there's a lot of new things on the TaxMax side, but the landscape of tax season this year is going to be very interesting. So obviously everyone's aware of the big, beautiful bill and all the tax law changes in the big, beautiful bill. What no one's talking about. So actually JP Morgan Chase has come out and said that tax season is going to be a huge stimulus in Q1, that the Fed has considered slowing the rate decreases down because Q1 is going to be such a stimulus. And everyone knows about the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. But what people aren't talking about is the payroll tax withholding tables did not change. So if you are paying an employee overtime, they are still having 25 to 30% withholdings on that overtime. When they file their tax return, they will get to deduct that income, but they're going to have this huge bucket of withholdings. Same thing with no tax on tips. Right now, servers are claiming their tips. They're having taxes withheld from those tips. They're going to get it all back in their tax refund.
That's wild. I mean, I never thought about it. They're not changing the withholding. That's going to really, that's probably $1,000+ per refund extra, I would think, or maybe two or 3,000.
So if you look at overtime, there's no tax on overtime up to $12,500. It's $25,000 for a married filing joint. But let's just say that if they're withholding 25%, because you have to withhold higher on overtime and bonuses. So let's say just 20% to make the math easy. That's $2,500 in withholdings and just $12,500 in income from overtime.
Wow. Does that cover the whole year of 2025, or did it start at a certain point during the year?
I believe it's the entire year of 2025. It's retroactive.
Oh, wow.
But it caps out at 12.5. So the same thing happens with no tax on tips. Taxes are going to be withheld. So if you're an employee makes tips and overtime, there could be an extra $3,500 on top of the 8,000 for earned income credit. They've increased the child tax credit to 2,200. So I mean, people in the right sweet spot could get a refund of $15,000 if they make $35,000.
They won't even need to finance with us. They'll just pay cash.
Correct. So the point is, for all these dealers listening, is like, you really have to take your shot at this tax season. This
Well,
is going to be a really good one.
That's what I answered a question, or there was a bunch of people answering a question last night on one of the Facebook groups, and the guy was like, "Should I go all in? Should I go all in on tax season?" And my comment has been like this before, Jeff. We talked about this a couple episodes back, but the people who don't have good tax seasons are the people who don't prepare for tax season. And part of your preparation is getting your advertising down, getting your inventory right, and getting a way to harness those tax returns, right?
And if I can say one thing though, you can go all in on tax season, but you have to go in smart. You can't change your underwriting at all. That if you are saying, wow, this guy's got, like you said, this guy could pay cash for $15,000, but if he doesn't have a job, he quit his job or whatever, don't take the $5,000 down and finance the other 10 when he can't make the first payment.
Yeah, you're right.
Can't emphasize enough, because that's when I talk to dealers. Oh, tax season sucked. I sold this guy with no money down and I got $5,000. He didn't have a job and he owed me, $500 a month as his payment. You just set the whole thing up to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And on a side note for that is, I find that the only tax deals I've had that have failed are the ones where the customer says, well, I'm not sure who files, or maybe he's going to file this year, or maybe I'm going to file. And it's like, whoa, wait. if you have been married for any period of time and you don't know who's filing or what your last return was, that's a bit of a red flag.
Well, that's when they start garnishing wages too.
Yeah, and it's like
halfway through the year.
How's your husband going to run out and file without you knowing? Like, that's nonsense. You're either lying to me and just trying to get around it, or you really got some problems.
Hey guys, just to jump in and talk about Buckeye Risk Services. They've been one of our sponsors forever. They're great to the industry. They're one of your sponsors. You don't even know it. Every time you go to a convention or something like that, they're there helping out. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. I have not seen a company so willing to get behind the dealers from an education, from a support standpoint. I mean, there's a handful that we see in our sphere that are very active and always have our back, but Buckeye really sets the standard. So when you're looking for a reinsurance company, if you've decided it's time to get into it, you've got to call the guys and girls over at Buckeye. I promise you will not regret it.
Yep. Reinsurance, forced savings account, wealth building, tax planning, all these things go together. So call Buckeye.
What's interesting, Bill, and I want to talk about this with the big, beautiful bill. I want to paint this similarity. And 2 years ago, when I talked to Luke about getting in on the EV tax credit, Luke said to me, that's a nonsensical government tax cash grab, you greedy capitalist. And I said to Luke, yeah, buddy, like, the government's giving out money. Thank you. My hand is out. I would like some. So what it did was, I did almost $700,000 in EV tax credits. That's $700,000 I didn't have to put on the street. That's $700,000 more cash flow in my business because I didn't put that money on the road and try to collect it and then charge it off 18 months later, whatever the case may be. So I want people to hear that, because when you think it was hard to jump through the hoops to get set up as a clean credit dealer, or you didn't want to sell this, that, or the other, or you didn't want to change your underwriting or your cars or your processes, like, just realize getting your hands on that money sooner is worth the hoops you have to jump through. It's worth signing up with TaxMax. It's worth training your sales staff how to talk to people. You don't even have to file the stupid taxes anymore. Bill's going to talk to us about how it's all automated with the customer. It's incredibly easy, but it's cash you have to get your hands on because things are tight. It is expensive to run a dealership. Cash costs us more. You're going to go out of business, most likely within the next couple of months. So get that cash in your dealership. Everyone's struggling and they're like, oh, how do I do this? How do I do that? It's like, here it is. Here's a simple answer to just help yourself out.
Speaking of struggling, what is the government shutdown going to do with this tax season? Is there anything right now? Because we're 2 weeks in, I guess, and who knows when it's going to end.
Yeah, and I'm going to put a pin on that for 1 second.
Oh,
Going
come
back
on.
to what Jeff said. No, I want to add to what Jeff said. we've had a lot of dealers call us, and their number one goal this year is to deleverage. They said, Bill, how can I use TaxMax to deleverage? I have to deleverage.
They're
My
listening
credit
to me,
line,
Jeff. They're listening.
They are listening to Luke.
my credit line's being constricted, or in jeopardy, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there. But back to the government shutdown. That's an excellent question, because right now, from what I'm hearing, this may be a long one, and I almost feel like they want to break the record. So the record was 35 days, and everyone just seems like we're going for the record. So with TaxMax, it's going to cost me a fortune, because we have to pay for every refund advance that gets submitted to our bank before the IRS opens. So we have to pay $79 for every tax return out of our fees that we charge the customer to get them an application for a refund advance. So we will proceed business as usual starting January the 2nd, printing those $7,000 refund advance checks. If this government shutdown goes on for 2 more weeks, then maybe the IRS opens 2 weeks later. Or if this I heard today something about the insurance premiums renew, I guess, December 1st, and that if the shutdown may last till December the 1st, that means tax season may not open till March, which means the IRS wouldn't release refunds till April. So it coincides perfect timing for us. A new thing, we're launching all these new things with TaxMax that it's so different than it was even 6 months ago. So we're launching our tax season consulting group. So starting the first Tuesday in November, and it's going to go on through all of November, December, January, February, and March. It's 5 months. We're going to talk about every week for 30 minutes about what's going on with tax refunds, and government shutdown is going to be high up on the list.
Is this going to be like a training, or is it going to be is that something where I train, or you have your regular webinar still that'll be training?
So we have our normal webinars that will be training, but these are going to be groups hosted by me. And I'm going to tell your salespeople, your collectors, and your advertising and marketing people, business owners, what you should be doing this week of this month. It could be January the 15th, and I may be talking about things that are going on with the government shutdown and delays. The first topic we're going to talk about in November is going to be how to navigate our website and all these little hidden jewels that are in the website. So I'm not necessarily going to be training. I'm going to be telling each person what they should be doing with advertising. TaxMax offers all these digital pieces for advertising. It's all included. And we've got a countdown to tax season for Facebook. We've got all these little cool things that we're doing that it's all just included, and people just don't know where to find these little hidden gems.
Yeah, and I'm glad this is going to be great for dealers, because you always see them on the websites going, oh, where's tax season? What's going on? So it's great that this is going to be out there. But one of the key things to using TaxMax is to have a really good marketing program behind it. Because we haven't, I don't think, done any actual filings for a couple of years, just because I hadn't had the staff to do it. And people still call us all the time because of the original advertising we put into this process. It builds great value if you can do it.
But you hit the nail on the head. We are a marketing program. We're not just really a tax service.
Right.
We say we're a tax marketing program. You're marketing and advertising to these customers who are waiting for their tax refund, telling them you can put them into a car early, whether it's October, November, December, or January and February before the money comes out. So I'm going to take questions from all people on these calls, and they can ask what they want. One thing I found out is, for example, Jeff, you sign up with TaxMax in October, and I don't see you again until Buyer Pay United in April. And you say, hey, I had this problem. Well, now in real time, you can tell me what your problems are, and I can get you guys back on track. Maybe you had a GM that left. Well, we can take it offline, and I can take my training people and reach out to you directly to get your training people or your people trained back up to speed. Or you're having no response. We can take that offline. Or you can say, Luke, you can say, Bill, I think you're full of crap. I want to talk to one of your dealers who succeed at this. And then they will chime in on the tax season consulting groups and say how they're having success, whether it's sales, collections, how they did the deal, the customer buy-in, the employee buy-in. We're going to talk about bonus structures for the staff. Every week, you guys might get homework. Hey, We're gonna have
Ooh.
big time advertising
No homework.
on every call and say, hey, on your cell phone, see how long it takes for the TaxMax ad or application to come up on your phone. Maybe there's an issue with other things besides just TaxMax itself.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important that dealers understand that, yes, you cannot wait until tax time to learn
Yep.
TaxMax. Like
Yep.
that's too late. We have the most success in the fourth quarter program because that's really the beauty of a buy here, pay here operation, is being able to defer that down payment with some confidence. So we really get very aggressive December 1st. You know, we'll tease it out through November. But that means that my team has to be learning now how to do it. That means that I need to get the assets in place now. I need to get my website updated. I need to get Facebook campaigns updated. I need to train them on how to talk to customers and how to handle the underwriting, because it is a little bit different. But the
Correct.
fourth quarter program for me is the magic, because that's when I can really help people that want to get into a car earlier.
Jeff,
If they
let me-
wait,
yeah.
then they already got their cash. They're buying from Luke.
Let me
Right.
let me ask this question, Jeff, because it was brought up in that post yesterday. Your static pools for the fourth quarter program, I'd be willing to bet you are better than your taxi or than your actual February, March. Have you ever looked at that?
We have
Yes, but I have not. I don't know that my TaxMax penetration is large enough in either of those
Okay.
pools
Okay.
to really say, hey. So if I look specifically, and I'd have to look at just the TaxMax deals, fourth quarter versus first quarter, maybe that would be more of a better pool to look at and say, okay, out of my TaxMax deals specifically, how many succeeded, how many defaulted? Was there a difference between fourth quarter deals and first quarter deals? Yeah.
My idea, my thought is, Bill, and you might could back us up on this, is that the fourth quarter deal is going to probably be better because it's probably a lot of your current customers that you're getting in sooner, and they're just better customers. Bill, do you have any data on that?
Yeah, so what we saw with our larger clients who actually measure that, the people you sell to in October, November, December perform better because you're really getting a double down payment. So if a customer puts $1,000 down in November and then they're taking another $1,500 out of their $10,000 refund in February, they now have $2,500 down, plus the weekly or biweekly, whatever how you do it, payments for October, November, December, and January leading up to it. These customers last longer in their loans. I think buy here, pay here, the average default is 18th month. I think if there was a tax season payment on it and they collect it, I think that the default goes all the way up to, I think, 28 months.
Wow.
So these loans perform better for many reasons. Now, Luke, you brought up a good point. This fourth quarter program isn't for everybody, meaning that if they're a customer that can barely make their payment, maybe never even seen them, some dealers will only offer this to prior customers and say, look, this program we offer is only for our prior customers because you know them. The biggest thing I hear is, Bill, I hate your fourth quarter program. I'm never doing it, so I'm not using TaxMax at all. But we have 4 parts of our program. If you don't want to use the fourth quarter program, you could still use the other 3 parts. So that's another big misconception. But if you do a fourth quarter deal, it's not a zero down promotion. That's another mistake that people think. I'm going to take nothing down and then just get $5,000 in March. That deal's going to fail. They have to meet your normal underwriting criteria. They have to have money down. And what I usually suggest is when all right, Luke, I'm going to sell you this car and here's the keys. I'm going to ask you one question. Would you like to skip the last 4 or 5 months worth of your car payments? You're going to say, of course I would. How do I do that? Well, I can estimate your tax return and take a small portion of your future tax refund. Is that something you'd like to do? Doing that will shrink the term by 15%. So if you have a 40-month deal, or let's say a 50-month term, and now you can shrink this to a 43-month term, that customer saves 7 months worth of payments.
That's yeah. I mean, these loans are definitely going to perform better.
You don't want to. Well, the other caveat I'd say when we talk about not doing this as a zero down deal, that's not good. You're doing it as almost a double down payment. And
Correct.
Bill mentioned that earlier. I'm going to do this deal anyways, right? I'm going to underwrite this deal in November, December anyways. The other thing you got to be careful of is don't try to use it as a way to dig them out of negative equity. right? You're going to take an internal trade. Oh, well, I'm going to roll over this extra $3,000 of negative equity onto your car. And then you'll just come in at tax time with an extra $3,000 to get yourself out of it. And it's like, no, that doesn't work either. Because
Right.
come February, March, they know they're upside down and they're taking that tax return elsewhere.
And these will be things we're talking about on the weekly TaxMax consulting group calls. So
You know,
it's
we
going to be real-time information.
You mentioned something else new this year. What else?
So with the fourth quarter program, we did a test pilot with a group that had 6 locations. And what we did is that when they did the estimator, they knew they're going to sell the car to the customer, they texted the secure close video to the customer's phone. So we've always had this secure close video. It's a video, it's 2 minutes long, that just kind of, it's an avatar that explains that there is a special tax season payment due from you and in your contract. 2, this is the benefit to you, the consumer, about this special payment. And 3, about how you can make that payment. So one, that creates customer awareness. The second thing we did was, in our system, we asked them to tell us, does Luke Godwin have a special tax season payment with his sale when they do the estimator? They may hit no, meaning I didn't sell Luke a car at all, or B, that Luke doesn't have a special payment. But when you hit yes, TaxMax got the information of the customer's cell phone number and their email address. We created a drip campaign introducing TaxMax, who we are, and telling them we're going to send them a drip email campaign every month about a tax law update that will increase their refund. And then come January, we send them an email with our special link to whether it's Godwin Motors or to Four Seasons or to whatever dealer, for them to get a free estimate on their tax return. And then what we did, when we went above and beyond, we called the customer from TaxMax to say, hey, I'm just calling to verify that you received the link that we emailed and texted you. Now, all the email and link and texting permissions are in the paperwork. We included all of that. It's all compliant. So we called them to say, hey, did you get the link? Yes, I got it. Thanks. We tell them, hey, you get a free estimate. There's no charge until you go ahead and file. If they said they did not get it, while we have them on the phone, we will text them their link to the dealership that they're affiliated with for them to do this. This group had 245 fourth quarter deals, and they collected 241 of the 245 deals.
And I'm pretty sure I know the group, and they're probably the largest privately owned buy here, pay here in the country at this point. And they get it done. And that's awesome that you were able to, I mean, those are real numbers, right?
Those are real numbers. And honestly, I told him, I said, look, don't expect that next year. That's 98%. I'd be happy if you collected 90%, because in buy here, pay here, you only collect 72%.
Hey, real quick break to make sure you guys know about BlitzPay. It's who I use to take all the payments at my buy here, pay here dealership. We've been with them for almost 3 years now, and it is absolutely amazing. It's great.
Yeah, the product is so simple, even an idiot like me can use it. But even when my collector's out and I'm just taking a phone call here or there, no matter where I am, I can log into BlitzPay and I can take that payment. I can see the customers texting in and say, hey, can you run this? Or whatever's going on, it's always on top of it. And the money's in the bank almost the next day. And that is, to me, so important.
And the support is great. If we do have a chargeback or a dispute, we get an email that says, hey, there was this dispute, and then their team goes to work to help us resolve it. They don't just dump it back on your table with some random notification or email that you barely ever see, like my previous processors.
Yeah, that is so helpful. And a lot of times it's because our customers did something wrong, but when it's not, they'll fight to the end with you and get that money back in your account.
Yeah, so give them a call. The guys and girls over at BlitzPay, great partner to have. Definitely an essential tool to have if you're a buy here, pay here dealer.
We've been talking a lot about sales here. Do we want to hop into how this can help with collections during fourth quarter and first quarter?
Yeah, so every dealer has 5 buckets to collect, what I always say. And what you do now is you run a report out of your DMS. Here's all my past due accounts. Now you can text the customer and email the customer your special link that I was talking about, specific for your dealership, and then follow up with your collectors to say, hey, did you get the text or did you get the email with your special link? Do what we did at TaxMax. No, I didn't get it. Well, let me send it to you again and say, hey, you get a free refund estimate with TaxMax, no obligation, but this is how we can now get you current with your car payment. Same thing with repair notes or side notes. You're running that same report out of your DMS. You're changing the message, right? Hey, we've got a special with tax season. We can give you 40% off your balance of your side note just to get rid of it, or repair note, because we know they don't really get collected very well. It's an offer for the customer. You send them a mass text, a mass email, and then you follow up and see if they got it. Same thing with repos, right? Hey, we want to get back on a recent repo, run that report. Let's put you back into your vehicle. Recovery, someone maybe you charged off, or they totaled their car a year ago. They owe you $5,000. We'll settle this debt for $1,000 with your tax return. And then low balance customers, someone who only has 6 months or less left in their payment cycle with you. Run that report, same thing, send a text message and an email out, change the message. Hey, we can take a small portion of your tax refund and your trade-in and upgrade you to a new vehicle.
So I'm a little slow, Bill. So I'm going to have to walk through this in very easy terms. You're saying I can take all those buckets of customers, all the places people owe me money, right? Those are all little areas I'm trying to collect on. I can text them a specific link to my dealership. They will physically get it by email or text, and then they will self-help file. I'm not calling them trying to punch in their junk. Like they will just use the link. They'll file it directly with you or by text.
Yep.
And then I just get an email that says money's in the bank, print a check.
That's it. The dealer literally does nothing. We've literally tried to expand the theme of the dealer no longer does any of the work. The only work they do is what they do every day. They run reports.
But I still get to print checks, right?
Yeah. Or you can have the money on a debit card.
Jeff loves whenever he gets all those checks in case you hadn't seen it, anybody listening or watching, Jeff will take and just line those checks up like he's making it rain in his dealership with the TaxMax checks.
I give you a lot of credit because the first refund advance we printed last year was January the 2nd. It was for Four Seasons Auto. Yeah. They got the full $7,000, and it was an EV car. They got the EV credit of $7,500. I mean, what a start to tax season it was.
Wow, yeah. Great job, Jeffrey.
I did pick that car up.
Did you? Well, you were in it right when you picked it up.
And thank goodness I was. That's funny because my salesman just drove up in it just now as we were talking. He bought it because
they put the whole $14,000 down.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a killer deal, man. And yeah, it was a win-win for everybody.
Oh man.
Which I'm going to be doing a lot more of this tax time. So I do plan on going heavier into some of these EVs come December, January. And that's going to help me a lot because people will put up their tax return for a good car.
Right car. Yeah, for the right car, people will put down a huge amount of money.
Yep, they like the look, they like the sex appeal, whether it's a Silverado Z71 or a Tesla or something with wheels and tires on it. Like, I think that's a big piece to the puzzle. Even 6 months later, when their tax return gets deposited, they're not thinking about running out and trying to file with someone else. They're not trying to think about spending that elsewhere. They're gonna, they want to keep that car because they love it.
Yep. And here's the beauty, right? That lady filed through you and got a $7,000 refund advance. You knew exactly how much she had to get into the car, and you got the whole $7,000. If she filed somewhere else and got a $7,000 refund advance, she probably would have showed up and told you she had $1,500, and you probably would have taken the $1,500 with the $7,500 EV credit and only got $9,000 down instead of $14,000 down. That's how you win in this game with TaxMax. It's a marketing program, but the money's in your hands and you're negotiating with power.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. What else we got, Jeff?
Well, what it makes me think about is I've got to get my ducks in a row now, right, Bill? So tell the dealers, like, where do we go to sign up? What do we do? Do we get a special code because we know you or you gave us some stock tips? Like, what are the first steps as a dealer to getting the culture? Because that's really the biggest part. And we rewind all this and wipe it all away. It doesn't work unless your salesmen have buy-in. So you might have to do something because they want to do the least amount as possible. And Bill's made it very easy to file directly from the customer to TaxMax. back in the day, my guys had to enter in all the information into the system, right? And the salesmen were like, it's an extra step, blah, blah, blah. You were going to approve the deal anyways. Why are you making me get more down? So if your pay plan's not set up to incentivize for more down payment, you're going to struggle with that part. But getting the buy-in is super, super important. Bill, how do they get started?
So what I recommend is go to taxmax.com. I wouldn't even say sign up now. I'd say if you go to the very top, it'll say car dealers and then hover over overview and then just set up a demo. The demo could just be having a conversation. Let's have a conversation. I'd like to hear, I really challenge dealers who don't like me or don't like TaxMax to just book a demo and say, look, this is what I hate about TaxMax. And odds are it's about something that happened 20 years ago. That's what we're finding out, to be honest. So I'd love to have a conversation. My team would love to have a conversation. If you do just want to go to sign up now, click on sign up now. When you're checking out, use the coupon code VIP. We made it real simple. Just VIP, and that'll give you 35% off because you saw me on the podcast.
Hey now.
VIP.
Very important. Yep.
Make sure you use it because we need to make sure. And also, just to let you know, TaxMax is going to help sponsor our collections boot camp in Dallas coming up in December. And I'm sure at that boot camp, we're going to talk a little bit about how to use TaxMax to collect better, Jeff.
What's all this R stuff?
R. Sorry.
And I talked to Luke.
Luke's, not Jeff's. Sorry.
We're working on something that's hush hush right now, but it's going to be a game changer. I kind of shared it with Luke, and we're hoping to unveil that information at Luke's collections. Is it boot camp?
Boot camp, workshop, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But
good.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm sure him and the 3 other people in the room will really appreciate that insider information.
No, it's going to be a big deal. You gotta come because if you're in collections, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a game changer that we're going to announce at that day. Luke can't say what it is, but I told him what it is, and it's a big deal.
It is good.
It's a big deal. I'm a big deal.
Deal.
Bill, any closing parting words? Appreciate your time. And again, my parting argument to everyone is we need liquidity. You need cash in your dealership right now. It's not going to get better. Like, honestly, if you're still in business come January, thank goodness you made it. But that's all I can think about, man. We see it on the news every single day. What Tricolor has done, what the auto parts people have done to the credit crunch and these other lenders, and we're getting hit from all angles. So if you don't get more cash, the cars are not more affordable. Our customers don't have more. Like, it's going to be a big deal to get that money and get as least amount of cash on the street as you can absolutely handle for a while.
Yeah, there's a credit crunch coming. I listen to CNBC all day, and I think I heard Tricolor mention at least a dozen times every day for 2 weeks.
Everybody's scared.
The bank stocks are scared. I mean, you got Jamie Dimon talking about cockroaches. I mean, that's the
private credit people. He's like, they're cockroaches. And I'm like, thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
But the point is, like you said, if you're looking to deleverage or just lower your credit line, get yourself in a position, because one thing I don't think is possible, you're not going to be able to extend your credit line past what you have. And if it doesn't get reduced, you're going to be in good shape. So deleverage, now, one thing I tell people too, you don't have to use all 4 parts of TaxMax. If you don't want to do the 4th quarter program, fine. You're crazy not to do it for collections. Run a report, send your customers a mass text and an email. That takes 20 minutes. Okay. And then follow up with your collectors and making a call. They're calling them anyway. No brainer, no work. Q1, throw the banner ad on your website. They file with us. We now send you a lead to your CRM. You schedule an appointment. The lead's labeled a TaxMax lead, so you know there's tax money coming along with that lead and that customer that you set an appointment with. And if you hate all 3 still, it's still worth the money to do the tax season consulting groups. We're going to know 5 days in advance before when the IRS releases the money. Let's say it's because of the government shutdown. It may be March the 30th that the money comes out this year. Well, I'll be able to tell you March the 25th, 5 days in advance. Be ready, here it comes. But TaxMax, if you're doing the Q1 program, regardless of when the IRS opens, we'll have money starting January 2nd.
I have one more question and one follow-up comment. Are those consulting groups free? Can anyone get in, even non-TaxMax dealers?
No, it's only for TaxMax dealers only. So you just have
Ooh,
to
okay, I
register
like
and
it.
sign up. If you don't want to use any part of the program, I don't care. But as long as you're
Yeah.
a TaxMax dealer, you can sit in the consulting groups.
That's
We're going to
awesome.
expect hundreds of people in these groups.
Well, sounds like a party. The
And they're-
second comment I wanted to make was we didn't really distinguish or differentiate between the buy here, pay here dealers and the retail dealers and which ones to take advantage of that. Because as a buy here, pay here dealer, the fourth quarter program makes absolute sense. You have to do it. As a retail dealer or a CAC dealer or subprime dealer, fourth quarter program doesn't really work because you're not, the banks do not like that. You cannot defer it down. That's
Correct.
very dangerous with outside finance. But the first quarter program works because guess what? Bill is printing checks on January 2nd. So you are physically printing a refund advance check. Like Bill said, I had a 6,000, I had a 4,000, I had a 3,000. You know, I had in 2025, like 30, where are my refund advance checks? I had like almost 20 or 30 grand of refund advance checks printed, which means that was cash that got deposited that day. It is a true down payment. So when you go to CAC or Bank of America or Chase, Wells Fargo, whoever, that's literally a down payment. It's non-recourse. It's
correct.
right. It's their money from day one.
Yep. So a retail dealer can't do the collections program and can't do the fourth quarter program, but they can do the other two parts, which is the Q1 and the tax season consulting groups.
Yeah.
One thing, I'm glad you brought this up. So the buy here, pay here consulting groups will start in November. There will be a separate retail tax season consulting groups starting in December. Both groups will go through March, but they will be different, meaning that we'll be talking buy here, pay here best practices in January, February, and March. In March, when we talk about, all right, let's talk about what deals went bad. All right, should you start picking these customers up, or we're gonna talk about, well, this customer's been making their payments. There's an issue with their tax return. Well, you either want to rewrite the deal because they're making their payments, or do you just want to let this special tax season payment go late for a little while longer? And we're gonna, once again, every week they're only 30 minutes long, but they're gonna get right to the point, plenty of questions and answers. And I've said it before, you're crazy not to do it. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Agreed.
Yeah. So
Good
smart.
job.
Luke, this has been great. Bill, thank you. I think Luke has a different tea time.
I got a tea time I got to get to, boys.
Not a tax time, but a tea time. The second best tea time there is,
That's right.
other than tax time, is literal tea time.
Yeah, I'm not a golfer. I don't have the patience for golf.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks to everybody. Really appreciate your time.